All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seattle Payne Field Airport, home of the Future of Flight Experience and Boeing Factory Tour. I am so excited to be here. One thing that I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to do is film any of the tour itself, but I think the Future of Flight Experience I'll be able to film and take pictures of. But even pulling in here, we're met with a bunch of brand new 777Xs. They haven't been certified by the FAA yet, and they are still in development, but they have the signature folding wingtips. Oh my God, I've never seen those before. Really, really cool to see, and I'm excited to head on inside. So I'm gonna show you as much as I can, and we're just gonna have fun and nerd out. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so yeah, they are very strict. Items not allowed on the Boeing factory tour. No purses, handbags, no electronics, no cameras, no video equipment, binoculars, notepads, or drones, phones or tablet, food and drinks, weapons, smoking, or vaping. But just take a look at this entrance area over here. Future of Flight, we have our complimentary lockers right over here on either side. We have Paper Plane Cafe. Oh my gosh, and take a look at that tail over there. There's a giant tail off in the distance. So there's the entrance to the tour. We check in over here and then we put away our stuff. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I just got done with the tour of the factory, and it's that big building over there. That's actually the world's largest building by volume. And holy hell, it is massive in there. So it was about a 90-minute tour, and it cost me just under $50 to go inside and go into the tour. And it also includes admission into the Future of Flight exhibit, which I will get to in just a little bit. But in this factory over here, they are assembling 777Xs, 777s, and they used to assemble 767s. I don't think they're assembling any right now. Actually, I'm lying. They are assembling some military 767s right now, but nothing commercial at the moment. But it's still insane. So the 777Xs, they've been in development for a while, and as Av Geeks, we are so looking forward to these incredible new planes and to see them in the process of being built. There's so many of them here. They're just awaiting FAA certification. They said that they're set to be delivered in 2027, so I'm hoping to be on one of those early flights. But there is no words to describe just how massive that building is, how cool it was that we saw. Like, we got to go into an underground tunnel system that looks exactly like the utilidors at Magic Kingdom underneath. It's all concrete everywhere. There's a bunch of pipes and wires and everything underneath that supports all the utilities underneath. And then we took a massive freight elevator all the way up, about 80 feet in the air, to get an overhead view of the production line. It is nuts. Now, I will say we are here on a Sunday, so they weren't running at full capacity today. It is a 24/7 operation here, so there are some employees working and they get overtime over the weekend. So, you know, they said that the pay is good and people actually want to be here, so they are still working on planes over there. But it is still so cool to see the entire process from, you know, pretty much start to finish of planes, where we got to see bits and pieces of the early assembly, and then in the massive buildings over there, we see them being actually pieced together. And then there's a separate building for painting. It is still so cool. And they weren't exactly able to tell us who ordered 777Xs, but a lot of the wingtips that fold up actually have basic paint designs for some of the airlines that have already ordered them. So if you're an Av Geek, you can look at the color scheme and you can identify what planes belong to which airline. But it is still so cool. Definitely 100% worth it. If you're an Av Geek, you need to come out here and you need to see this. We also learned that they don't assemble 737s over here. They assemble those at the Renton facility that's about 30 minutes south of here, kind of close to SeaTac. But the 787 Dreamliners, those are actually assembled in North Carolina. I had no idea that that was the case. I thought that, you know, all the Boeing assembly stuff was over here in Seattle, but no, they're actually kind of spread out. So off in the distance over here, we actually have a bunch of aircraft that have yet to be delivered to their respective airlines, and they are just awaiting their flight tests. So that's really cool to see. We have a bunch of different cool airplanes over there. Unfortunately, the Dreamlifter is not here today. I have seen photos of the Dreamlifter out here in this facility as it takes parts to different areas of the world or the United States, you know, wherever it needs to go. Unfortunately, we don't have that. But let me go ahead and start showing you guys around this sky deck over here that is a part of the Future of Flight building. So I love how they have this board over here that tells you exactly what you can see from up here on the sky deck. So I assume zoom off in that direction, normally on a clear day we could see Mount Baker. It's a little cloudy, we can't see that. We have the train yard over here, which is that right there, down yonder that way, and then we have the Everett Assembly Plant. That is the building off in this direction that we were able to get a tour of. Then we have the paint hangars, which is those buildings right over there. That's where all the airplanes go to get their paint. And then we also have our delivery center. So this is where they hold all the big parties, and this is where all the executives from all the major airlines come and pick up their newly built planes. So all those planes in that direction are at the delivery center and are either waiting to be, further tested and or waiting to be officially delivered to their respective airlines. Then we have our air traffic control tower, which is off in that direction, and then you can see Mount Rainier off in the distance. Take a look at that. And yes, guys, Everett Payne Field is an actual functioning commercial airport, so you will see flights in and out of here. So we have an Alaska Embraer getting ready to take off. And then I want you guys to take a look at this. Check this out, guys. We are right next to a bunch of 777Xs lying here waiting for FAA certification and waiting for all the final touches. Absolutely insane. So these are all passenger variants. They are making cargo variants as well, but a lot of them are just lying here in cold status waiting to be used. And we have a whole line of them all the way down yonder that way as well. Plus we have a whole bunch that are still in the assembly building. This is the next generation of 777, and I am so excited for these planes. And what's so unique about them is the folding wingtips. You can see all these wingtips that are just folded up at a near 90-degree angle. And it's because the wingspan of these things are so massive that in order for them to fit at most airports, they need to have the wings fold up like that in order to fit in the parking spaces at the different individual gates. But with the added wingspan, it should make for a much smoother, much more comfortable flight experience. Okay, so now that we're done with the actual sky deck, I got plenty of pictures, plenty of videos. I'm really nerding out here. Let's go ahead and experience the rest of what the future of flight has to offer. Okay, so right through those doors over there is where you enter. This is the main lobby area. We have restrooms over here, we have a cafe right there, and then we have the lockers. I already pointed those out. We have our ticket booth over here where you can purchase tickets and tours, and then we have our gift shop over here, which I will show you guys just a little bit later. And then on the opposite side over here, we have the entrance to the actual tour. But actually, I didn't even notice this earlier. Take a look at that. They have a TV screen over here with Flight Radar 24 pulled up. I don't know how accurate this is. Like, is this a touchscreen? Oh my gosh, it's a touchscreen. So let's go ahead and make our way down into the facility and see what they have. It's also important to note that the factory tour and the future of flight experience are two separate things. If you do purchase a ticket for the tour, then the experience, the future of flight experience is included in that, or you could purchase the future of flight experience on its own. Something that's really important to note about the factory tour is that there is a minimum height requirement. So make sure you pay attention to the website because they will measure your kids to make sure that they are tall enough to be able to go into the factory. And oh my gosh, guys, take a look at this. They have a whole vertical stabilizer here for a 747. What? This thing is massive. I mean, what other time are you going to get the opportunity to get this up close and personal to a vertical stabilizer, especially for a dying plane breed like a 747? This is nuts. I don't see any signs saying not to touch. I'm touching it. That is nuts. Oh my gosh, this thing is huge. And take a look at that. We have a model of the 777X over here on display. Can't get too close to it. There is a bit of a barrier over here, but still, it's very cool to see this model up close. And then right outside these doors, we have a bunch of 777Xs. So these are the same planes that we were looking at from the sky deck that's off in that direction. And we can come over here and just get a sense of scale for these planes. So the 777s are the largest commercial wide-body aircraft that only use 2 engines, if that makes any sense. So the largest dual-aisle twin-engine plane. And then right next door over here, take a look at that. We have a model of the Dreamlifter. So in case you guys are curious what I was talking about earlier when I said Dreamlifter, this is what I'm talking about. I've seen pictures of it actually parked here, but unfortunately it's not here today. But in case you guys are curious what the Dreamlifter actually does, I mentioned it carries parts all around the world. So you can see we have the front part of a plane fuselage being loaded into the Dreamlifter. And that's what it does. It just carries bits and pieces of planes all around the world. So check this out, guys. They have a whole bunch of informational displays and different boards over here of all types of things you can read up on regarding not just Boeing airplanes, but Boeing spacecraft as well. In case you guys weren't aware, Boeing do produce spacecraft and space capsules that help assist in sending people off into space. What the heck is this? Destiny Laboratory Module? So yeah, this is an example of something that would go into space. What the heck? The Destiny Laboratory Module, the primary research lab for U.S. payloads sent over to the International Space Station, was delivered to the Kennedy Space Center in November of 1998 and launched on shuttle mission STS-98 on February 7th of 2001. It is 28 feet long and 14 feet in diameter and contains 24 equipment racks that are used for experiments in human life science, biology, materials research, Earth observations, and commercial applications. Let's go inside and check it out. We do have the opportunity to do that. Let's see what astronauts are dealing with up in space. So, low clearance. I am 5'5" and yes, I do hit my noggin on this. So you are gonna have to bend on down. But this is so cool. Exactly what you would think a boring space capsule would look like. I mean, to some folks it would be boring. I mean, the look itself is boring, but like the purpose that it serves is definitely not. Because, you know, when you're in space, there's zero gravity, so there's no up or down. So you could be anywhere over here. So of course we have compartments and things that are down on what we call the floor and what we call the ceiling. There's functions, compartments, and buttons everywhere. And then this is one of the windows that they have. And they actually have a screen down here projecting what the astronauts would be seeing. That is so cool. Oh, look, and then they have a microgravity science glove box. So you see this in movies all the time where they have their, you know, gloves in here and they're experimenting with different things. It's really cool. And then we have all these different little knobbers over here that you can play with. I also love how they have fuselages in here, or at least little bits and pieces of fuselage in here, so that way you can get a sense of scale. So for example, we have a 787 Dreamliner fuselage. Right here, you can see the door where you would go in. I think this is like a rear part of the aircraft as it starts to get a little bit smaller towards the aft galley, but that is the aft galley door, and we can see the passenger windows over here. So you can kind of get a sense of just how massive this thing is. And cameras and videos do not do this thing justice. It just certainly does not. So you can imagine all the cargo space over here, and then we have the additional windows off on the side and the galley doors. And then over here we have some concepts of future personal aircraft that Boeing are developing. Very cool. All of these are like experimental planes, or planes that never really took off, so to speak. So we have electric powered planes, years of operation 2011 to 2014, number of test flights 207. Oh my goodness, why was it built? Full-scale proof of concept of distributed electric propulsion in the lift plus cruise configuration. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this over here. I do believe that this is a concept of a future airline cabin because none of these windows look very familiar. But at least you can see there's overhead air vents. We love those. Can these open? they do not open, unfortunately. Still very cool, twin aisle wide body aircraft. Okay, so they have some flight simulators here, and I'm definitely going to be trying my hand at that. But we have a couple of other displays over here. Looks like we have a window of a 787. Is this meant to, yeah, show off? Look at that, how it gets darker. If you guys remember from our flight from Los Angeles to Tokyo, we flew on a 787 Dreamliner with these windows, and we showed off how the windows dim. There's no typical window shade on these 787s. Okay.
All right, so you're going to be in the cockpit in a moment. There you go. Now,
Ooh.
This to your right is the throttle. You're going to push the throttle, this thing, all the way forward and let go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All the way forward.
Let go. The engines are revving to 90%. When they hit 90% or higher, you're going to press this green button once really quick and let go. Perfect. You are moving.
All right, so we just released the brakes, huh?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So now, this is your speed. When your speed reaches 140 knots, you're going to pull nice and gently back on the yoke, about 2 to 3 centimeters or an inch.
You
Not
said
more than an
148
inch.
knots?
Yeah, 140.
Okay.
And once you pull back, you'll begin flying very gradually, very gracefully into the sky.
Okay, we're kind of veering off the runway here.
Yeah, you push on the left pedal with your foot a little bit, and you might be able to, well, you're okay, you're already in the air. Look
right.
at you, you are flying.
Excellent.
Nicely done. This circle with the wings is you. Right now you're flying at about 3 degrees, 5 degrees, 10 degrees is up here. This is your level line. If you go below the level line, this is descending 5 degrees, and down here would be descending 10 degrees. All right?
Interesting.
There you go. You are flying. What you're going to do, if you want to turn a little to the right. Let's turn to the right. We're going to get the plane to bank a little bit to the right. Once it's banking to the right, you'll notice that it is turning. See, on the upper left-hand corner, your compass rose is changing?
Uh-huh.
That's your heading now. You're almost heading due south now. Turn hard to the left. Hard, hard, hard. And you're going to level out, bring it to the middle. Perfect.
Yeah, growing up, I always wanted to be a pilot, but I don't think I could handle the stress.
Well, I respect that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, that was actually a lot of fun. So in the past, in my youth, I remember playing Microsoft Flight Sim on like one of my older computers, and it was like polygons at that point. But I never really had the opportunity to like, well, okay, so in middle school, we had some basic yokes. There wasn't anything fancy, but that was like almost a full setup with the pedals and the thrust and everything else. So that was a bit higher end setup. And the nice wide screen too, it definitely puts you into that perspective and mindset. And it's stressful. Good Lord, you guys already heard. Like back when I was young, I really wanted to be a pilot, but I don't think I could handle the stress and responsibility of, you know, flying a big aircraft like that and all the lies. One minor mistake and it's all over, you know what I mean? But that's still really cool, and I'm very happy that I got to experience that, and I highly recommend you guys experience it as well. Very important thing to note though, you have to be at least 12 years old in order to use the flight sim, so sorry kids. Ooh, this looks like fun. What is this? Push button to start airflow. Oh wait, there's a ball. There's a, whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my gosh. The ball is going crazy. So wait, you can change. Oh, okay, so you can send it up. Where'd it go? Oh wait, it got stuck. Hold up. Ah. You send it a whole different direction. I can imagine this place is a really cool location for like field trips and stuff. Now granted, I don't think that you could necessarily spend the entire day here because I don't see too much else in this future of flight section, unless I'm missing something. But there's still a whole bunch of things to be learned. So many different displays, so many different, you know, bits and pieces of information that you can take in and learn about different things when it comes to aerospace. And it's all just so fascinating. And then the last thing I'm going to show you from this particular section of the experience is the Legacy of Innovation board. So this is basically all of Boeing's history from 1915 all the way up until present. Take a look at that. The B-52 bomber. We have the DC-8 commercial airliner coming out in 1958. We have the 727 coming out in 1963. And then in 1967, we have the first 737. In 1969, we have the 747 making its debut, followed by in 1982, we have the 757 Flying Pencil. And then moving on down over here to 1994, where we have the development of the Boeing 777, absolutely revolutionizing commercial air travel across oceans. And then in 2009, we have the development of the 787 Dreamliner. Something that was also very interesting to learn about is the development of aircraft throughout history and how the building materials have changed. Like, we have a fuselage piece over here that I believe is aluminum, and you can tell just how thin it is. And then between that, we have the inner skeleton over here, and then from here is where, you know, all the interiors get placed and stuff. But you can just tell the difference between this piece over here and a piece of 787 fuselage that we had in the tour, where it was made out of carbon fiber, and you can tell just how much lighter the material was. And it's kind of scary that these massive things that feel so light, made so much out of this, well, not necessarily this, but going back to the 787, can, you know, carry us throughout through the air, through the skies. It's nuts. So something that I'm very proud of and very happy that I got to do, and something that I'm very happy I have pictures of, is me flying in the nose of a 747. So where was it? All the way over here. Passengers on the lower level can actually sit in front of the pilots on a 747. And I have pictures of a flight from London Heathrow all the way to San Francisco on a United Airlines 747. And I got to fly in their first class product back then. And I got to sit in the very nose of the plane. So I'll put in a couple pictures over here from my old Instagram account. I'm so happy I have these photos. But you can see United Airlines old 747. And I'm so sad that they're gone and scrapped and, you know, disappeared from the world forever. But you can see in the photos the very nose of the aircraft. I'm sitting in front of the pilots. It's a very cool thing to say that I got to do, and I'm very pleased that I have that experience, and I still have photos of that experience. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a quick peek inside the Boeing store. We have our airplane models, and I'm very happy to say that I did do a little bit of damage with the airplane models. Now, to be honest, I probably should have picked up one of these 747s, because the 747s aren't being developed and made anymore. So, I don't know if I should have picked one up or not. You know, maybe in the future I'll be able to get one, because I already know that I'm going to be back. I want to come back. So, we'll definitely see. I want a 747 because they're a dying breed. These things are... This one's $59, but unfortunately I just don't have the space. I did pick up a model, it's just not this one. We also have a couple of Dreamlifter models over here, and then Air Force models. Take a look at that. We even have a 737 MAX models. We have some plane spotter guides to military aircraft, a bunch of different books. We have a whole bunch of different hats over here that you can collect. So if you guys have ever looked at a parked plane, you'll probably remember seeing a bunch of these waving around. It says remove before flight, and then these, look at that. This one says 777X. We have 787, 747-8, 737, 737. Like, this is so cool. When I worked at Sarasota International Airport, this to me meant bypass pin that, you know, locked the nose gear from being able to turn and rotate. So I have one of these for Japan Airlines, but very tempted to pick up a 777X one. Not entirely sure. The 777X I know is going to be here for a hot minute, but 747 I know is not. So, very interesting, very tempted. We have all kinds of Boeing merchandise. We have fishing shirts over here. We have UV shirts. We even have vests. We have America 250 shirts over here, limited edition for America's 250th birthday. All kinds of merchandise, not just for, you know, your standard commercial aircraft, but a whole bunch of other Boeing products as well. And then moving on down here, we have a bunch more merchandise. We have more professional looking button-up shirts over here. We have some more Boeing hats and Boeing water bottles. And then we have t-shirts over here. This one's saying 787. And you can go through, like they even have 777X t-shirts over here, which unfortunately do not come in my size, and they're also Under Armour, so these are like $60, and I'd rather not, when they have some cheaper versions over here that are like $20. And not to worry guys, they do have stuff for the kids as well. We have a couple of kids shirts over here. We have some robots and other different toys that you can buy, including a Lego Pan Am plane, the Douglas DC-3. It's really cool. Okay, so I made my way inside the Paper Plane Cafe, and I just wanted to show you guys what they had on offer. Just in case you were curious, let me go ahead and switch this over so you can zoom in. I know there's a little bit of a glare. There you go. Look at that. We got egg and cheese sandwiches, quiche and turkey bacon sandwiches, Italian sandwiches, vegetarian, ham and cheese croissant. We even have pizzas, clam chowder, and mac and cheese. They even have some coffee options over here. And then we also have some grab and go items as well, including some snacks and candy bars. We have crackers, we have cookies and other danishes. And here's an example of some of the other sandwiches that they have on offer. Very interesting. And then we have some salads and other grab and go things, including some parfaits. Okay, I have finally picked up Coda. How was it?
It was fun. It was really pretty.
What was your favorite animal that you saw?
I'm gonna go with the baby lions.
Baby lions?
Yeah.
She was sending me pictures the whole time while I was at the Boeing thing, and yeah, some of the animals were pretty gosh darn cute, and I think those lions were pretty cute. Now, is this place bigger or smaller than Zoo Tampa? Because that's the one that you like to go to a lot.
Oh, definitely bigger.
So, would you come back?
Yes.
100%?
Yes.
I think that goes for any zoo with you, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything like unique here that you wouldn't really see too many other places, or is it just your standard run-of-the-mill zoo?
I liked how everything was spread out. Everything was pretty well spread out. They have to get the giraffes from the giraffe barn to their savannah area. They have to cross the literal sidewalk.
Ooh.
So they have to close down the sidewalk, and open the gates up real big, and then you can watch the giraffe walk across.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, you had fun?
Yes.
I had a lot of fun as well. I was telling Coda as I got into the car, like, yeah, she would not have enjoyed that. Now, how much is the ticket to get into the zoo?
$38-ish. But it is part of the AZA reciprocal program. So if you have a membership to your local AZA zoo, check the list online. This is one of the ones that you get half off at.
Interesting. So you paid about what, $19-ish to get in? Not bad at all. So do you think it's worth it?
Even at the $40, yeah, there's a lot to do.
Excellent. Excellent. So as I said, I think my experience was worth it as well. But with all of that being said, let's go ahead and make our way back to the hotel. Are you hungry?
A little bit. Are you?
A little bit? Yeah, I could go for some food. Let's see if we can find some dinner. If I don't show you what we get for dinner, then we'll just see you back at the hotel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, our time in Seattle has come to an end. And I'm honestly kind of sad. I really love Seattle, like a lot. I really like this place, and I definitely want to come back for more. There's so much more to see, so much more to do. This place is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I know I already mentioned it earlier, but it's the perfect mix of city and nature for me, and I think that's just the right combo. Plus, we're like a hop, skip, and a drive away from Vancouver, Canada, which is fantastic. So yeah, we're definitely going to be back. We're already planning our next Alaska cruise, so we already know we're going to be back in Seattle very, very soon. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope it gave you guys a quick idea of what you could possibly do before your cruise in case you guys are sailing out of Seattle for anything. But with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and pack up our stuff and get to bed because we got to be up early tomorrow because it is embarkation day for Anthem of the Seas, where we are going back to Alaska for another round with all new ports and only one repeating. But it's totally fine. Mostly new ports. We're very excited. Well, 3 new ports because Victoria still counts.
Oh.
Even though we're there for like 3 hours.
We're going to get off the boat.
And say, wow.
I've been to Canada.
But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed any part of today's video, please help us out by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here and you want to see more content like this in the future. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys be a part of this journey. I hope you are all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.